Hi, you're here at the 2025 Realcomm IBCon in Savannah, and with me is Marc Petock, VP of Marketing and Communications for Lynxspring. Hi, Marc.
Hi, Lisa. Delighted to be here once again in another fabulous event. So
Yes.
Thank you all for continuing to put this on.
Wow, well, thank you. It seems that you and I have to have a number of these chats, and we get to talk about the industry and what's going on and the trends and what's changing and all of those sorts of things. It seems like an exciting time.
It is, and you know what's interesting, I gave a lot of thought about this over the last week, especially as getting prepared to join you guys here, is it's never a dull year. Every time we get together, there's something new or there's something happening, and it's never a bunch of things that are just repeated. And I think that's what makes our industry so exciting. It's never a dull moment, as they say.
Right. Well, you are also, I forgot to mention, in addition to being VP of Lynxspring, you're also one of the founders of Project Haystack.
Yeah, thanks, Lisa. And again, I think, you know, one of the major transitions we're continuing to see is the importance of data. Yes, we've talked about it for years and years, but I think now the fact that people have realized that data is important, data is part of the DNA of a smart building. It needs to be utilized, it needs to be modeled, it needs to be standardized in some way, shape, or form to help the use of data.
Yeah, and this was the first year that we had a formal smart building data standards session. And I think that was a very needed session. I think it's a discussion that a lot of people are interested in, and a lot of organizations are coming together to have those conversations and work together and collaborate. What does that mean for Project Haystack, and what are some of your initiatives for the rest of the year and maybe long-term goals?
Well, I think you look at it, we again, I keep bringing up, we talk about data, but the data in buildings, the operational technology data is different than other types of data that businesses may utilize to help run their businesses. We're just coming off an every other year event that we put on called Haystack Connect, and where we bring in the global Haystack community to talk about it. And some of the key things that we did this year was we announced Haystack 5, which is now our 5th generation of the Haystack framework, this Haystack standardization, with a really cool technology that's behind it, and we call it Zeto. And as we roll this out, people will start seeing some of the really unique things that we have with respect to adding ease, adding more capabilities to be able to do with data.
What do you think is the primary industry approach now to data? We've been talking about data for a very long time, and at one time it was just what kind of data are you getting, and then just gobs and gobs of data, but what do you do with it, and the integrity of the data. What is the approach now? How do you think the industry has changed now in terms of really understanding the data that they're looking at and having actionable items around that data, and particularly with the emergence of AI? Obviously, the core foundation of AI is data. So how do you think things have changed, maybe in the last 4 to 5 years?
I think number one, it is part of the everyday conversation, where it used to not be part of the everyday conversation. It had to be brought up by whether it is, the system integrator, the OEMs, the technologists, and providers. And then number two is that we're seeing more people who are hired and part of the smart buildings team at the owner-operator level, that their job is to ensure the integrity of the data, its governance, its security, all of that stuff, and to interpret that data based on information that the outcomes that are trying to be generated and that are expected by the individual building owner or operator.
So there are a lot more stakeholders, a lot more people involved, a lot more people that are responsible. In terms of Lynxspring, how is Lynxspring approaching the market and folding that conversation into what you do? And also there's the whole cybersecurity, which is a very big conversation at the conference this year with data and AI that even opens up more vulnerabilities. So can you speak to that a little bit?
Sure. Well, again, from our perspective, our whole DNA has been on OT access, OT data access, et cetera. So middle of this month, I can't believe it's June already, that we've always had a data management independent data layer platform. We've made some recent enhancement to it. So with respect to the whole data side, all of our controllers, all of our hardware that is part of a solution that we offer is already what we call E2E ready. So that means that it can immediately, with a click of a mouse, a couple clicks, you're already in that E2E data management, that independent data layer model. So that's number one. Number two, as hardware continues to be part of a solution within the buildings and smart buildings, along with cloud and so forth and so on, the hardware is becoming much more powerful. So we're able to do data analytics at that device level, at that local level. If you want to then send parts of it up to a cloud environment, you're able to do it. But the analysis of the data, the use of the data in real time is becoming much more part of a solution today, especially in certain segments such as data centers, pharmaceuticals, critical mission opportunities, and things like that. So you're seeing that whole bridge refocus itself on immediacy from edge to cloud and then the combination thereof.
And what are you, I know you are really looking at other sectors, other industries, and how you can, you can really be effective and solve problems and spread the, the Lynxspring solution. Can you talk a little bit about some of the new initiatives that you're doing?
Sure. So, I mean, I'd be remorse if I didn't say data centers, and again, everybody in the industry, data centers. We know that. But outside the traditional building controls, we're getting involved in smart agriculture. We've talked about smart agriculture in the smartness for years, but now with the types of connectivity that is available, the types of controllers, the types of need sets that smart agriculture requires is no different than what we're doing in a building. We want to connect, we want to get data, we want to analyze data, we want to do something with that data. So agriculture is one of those areas. And
that's really interesting because you wouldn't think of agriculture in the same vein that you do smart buildings. You're thinking farmers and fields and and corn and wheat and soybeans and all of that. You're not really thinking oh, smart building and agriculture.
But you think about it though, as you're growing crops, you want to maximize the yield of that crop growing. Also with livestock, with pigs or cows or whatever, making sure that they're in a healthy environment. And that, again, it's all about making sure that get the maximum yield out of whatever farming I am actually doing. And I think part of that, we've seen an increase in certain grow opportunities where it's vertical growing inside a building versus our traditional that you and I grow up on, what we picture as a farmer today.
Right.
So I think that the market has changed. The market has changed.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we only have a couple of more minutes. Well, actually less than a minute. So you and I, as usual, could sit here and just talk about anything all day long.
Yes, we could. We could.
And we have a lot of really good conversations. I would say what do you think is going to be one of the takeaways for the conference? Obviously, we're just getting started. This is pre-conference, and we've got a lot of sessions tomorrow, general session tomorrow morning. But what do you think are maybe one of the primary takeaway points that you hope that the audience will take back to them to their offices, and maybe actionable items where we can really move the ball forward a bit?
Well, we've known each other for many, many years. You know I cannot just give one answer, okay? So I'll give you three.
Okay.
So number one, like we've said for the last several years, cybersecurity. And again, we cannot talk enough about cybersecurity. Number two is the change that it's not a technology decision by itself any longer. It is a business decision. And then three, it is about outcomes. And while ROI is nice, we all want ROI, it's driving specific outcomes right from the very beginning as people implement smart solutions, and knowing what those outcomes are and then comparing on an ongoing basis. So those are the three for you.
Well, I think I think that's a great answer, because it ties right into the theme of the conference, which is the new ROI, return on innovation, but it's about the business case.
Exactly.
It's about being able to justify and the value of innovation against the bottom line. So that ties in very nicely. Well, I think we're out of time, but it has been a pleasure talking to you, and hopefully we will get a chance to talk again. Maybe it won't be a year before we're sitting on the couch again and having a conversation. Well, it was a pleasure having you. Thank you for joining us. Look forward to seeing you across the next 2 days, and just let us know how we're doing in terms of go to the market and the conference.
Will do. And again, thank you all for doing this. You guys are without a doubt a beacon in the industry, and it's good to see this, that we're collaborating together. So thank you all as well.
Absolutely. Well, we couldn't do it without folks like you, so we appreciate it as well. Well, thank you for joining us. We hope you've enjoyed this segment of Realcomm Live, and join us again soon.